like you lost another one.
Welcome to the Summer Showcase. I'm Michael Washington. He's Randy Schrader, waiting on his cheese pizza that's currently in the oven because he is a hungry individual.
We got 2 minutes. We got 2 minutes left here on the timer, so I gotta go get this cheese pizza soon. I just got home.
Randy,
I had to pick up my mom from the airport. So you know, gotta take care of family stuff, and then I haven't eaten dinner. So, and then I'm eating a really healthy retired athlete's dinner here. So.
Retired athlete's dinner or cheese pizza. Nice.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on again, Michael. I appreciate it, as always.
You thank me every week, and I'm the one that's actually the lucky one to have you on. So.
I appreciate it. No, it's not.
Thank you for being here.
Always, man. Always. It's a lot of fun.
Randy's always the humble one out of us. Like, I'll brag till no end. Randy's always like, "Oh, you know, oh, my man. What was that? Week 11 that we just went through? Is that week 11? Man. Season has gone by. First and foremost, we'll talk a little bit. But I'll talk a little bit more tomorrow with Zach Bronkhorst. But this week has basically narrowed the playoff field down. Week 11 was not pretty on Saturday. Was much better on Sunday. So we won't spend a ton of time on the Saturday games because there really isn't much to talk about on Saturday. Unlike last week when the scores were lopsided. There was some competitiveness. This one didn't really have any of that at all. So I don't know how you felt about the games, Randy, but that's how I felt on Saturday and Sunday anyways.
Yeah, Saturday we can just skip to Sunday pretty much. I was watching the game Saturday like, man, I hope these games are better tomorrow. And they showed up. So the league ended on a good note there on Sunday. So it was good.
Definitely did. Well, we will run down each one just because, you know, Jamal, who should be joining us here as our unofficial producer at some point in time. By the way, Jamal, if you are with us, Randy was asking, how come you're not on air? So maybe we can hook that up before the end of the year. Maybe a championship preview game or maybe. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, like that, huh? Let's start with the first game, the Vienna Vikings and the Helvetic Mercenaries. So this was disappointing performance from Helvetic. By all means, like it was not pretty at all.
No, and we were even talking them up. I know I was last week. I was saying how you were not actually. You called this one. I was like, Helvetic's been playing well the last couple of weeks, and the last time they played the Vienna Vikings, it was close. So I was expecting maybe I think them to lose by like 20, but at least there be some scoring. You know, 40-20, something like that. This was. Not a good showing, and Vienna just dominated this game. So if you're a Vienna fan looking ahead to the playoffs, you want to be playing. Yeah. What did I say about Helvetic? Sorry, Jamal. Helvetic is a great team, and thank you. Caroline just brought me my cheese pizza here.
Nice.
Jamal, nice. You missed it. I haven't eaten yet, so I got some pizza here.
Yeah.
Helvetic, whatever you say, whatever you want. That was a disappointing performance. I was expecting more and didn't get that. But if you're a Vienna Vikings fan, I think you're looking at the rest of the season and especially the push to the playoffs. You want to be playing your best ball, and that was just an all-around dominating performance.
Yeah, and I think Jamal was also asking about what you said off air, and What he said was basically he was asking, how come you're not here on air with us? And maybe that's me dropping the ball just as much as it is, Randy dropping the ball until just mentioning it, 8 weeks later. But we'd love to get you on, though. We'd love to get you on, Jamal. Maybe like do a championship preview game, like when we get closer to it, or even the playoff run. Love to have you on if you're willing, my man. So, pineapple on pizza type of guy. Helvetic is about 25 of my I Trust Jeremy. To be honest with you, Randy does not strike me as somebody who's a pineapple on pizza guy.
Hate it.
You're not, are you?
Hate
it.
My wife is. It's not supposed to be on pizza. Pineapples are supposed to be in a fruit platter. I like pineapples. No.
I am a pineapple on pizza guy. I like doing a bacon, a pineapple, and a jalapeno. I like a spicy Hawaiian. That is my jam.
Well, maybe I need to try it because you're the chef. So like you're the cook. You're the expert.
I'm just saying, a little spicy Hawaiian is the way to go. I mean, I don't know what she likes as far as like the pineapple is concerned, but I'll tell you what doesn't belong on pizza, and that's olives. And then olives don't belong pretty much on anything. So
no,
I am not an olive guy at all. I don't know if anybody else is, but I certainly am not. So, Jamal said, yeah, he said, let me discuss with my agents his 3 kids. Okay, yeah, Jamal, that's fine. Yeah, we can make it work. You just let me know, and you're more than welcome to join anytime you want, my man. Yeah, you know what, Randy? I really felt that this game was kind of a situation where if Carlton Aiken was playing, it might have been a little bit different. You know what I mean? Like, it's just it's hard because this team has been playing hard all year, right? Like Aiken's been pretty much this entire team. Aiken carried this team on his back. He got hurt. Clayton looked fairly good last week, and then this week I just feel like Vienna was just so much out of his, range, right? This team is so good that it was just going to be hard. And Vienna just went out, and Ben Holmes, had another fantastic performance and just kind of showed that, this team is for real, and you need to take them seriously because, like, they're definitely on a championship run. And I mean, I know it's Helvetic, but they really stifled them the entire game. So it'll be very interesting to see what goes on with Vienna moving forward to end the year out. Yeah, you know what, Jamal? Pat's Pizza actually up where I am actually closed. So I don't have one anymore. It's sad. It's sad. But yes, Pat's Pizza is the thing, man.
I'm losing.
There is a new place up here though. And if you ever make it up this way, Jamal, if you ever make it up this way, Jamal, you need to check it out for sure. So
I need to. I'm always.
Are you lagging, Randy? Or is that
there
me, or
is
that you?
I got you. Yeah, the last 3 minutes has been nothing but just frozen. So I think I can hear you now, but I missed
okay. Well, I just went on my Vienna. I went on my Vienna rant about
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's a pizza thing, you know what I mean? But it's just the way it is. So, yeah, Jamal did mention he loves the Vienna organization, but he wants to know how they would fare in the West against the West of the Surge. And honestly, I just really feel like Vienna is just so balanced that it's hard to discredit them against any one of those other top teams. I don't know how you feel about Vienna in that sense, but when I look at this team, I see them up there with the Stuttgarts. I see them up there with the top teams in the league, the Rhine Fire. Like it's not a matter of what conference they're in. To me, I think that's given them the success. How do you feel about that?
I agree. My wife is over here shaking her head. She thinks they wouldn't compete.
No, they would.
Oh, they would. Okay,
Yeah,
I thought you were saying they can't.
I
think so too. That was I played, in 2022, and we played Barcelona, who made the playoffs that year. I played 4 weeks, and we played Barcelona, who made the playoffs, played Trio, which made the playoffs, we played Vienna, which went on to win the championship that year. And that was the best team that I played. I was so impressed. They're just so well-rounded, and they still are. They have a good secondary. They got a great defensive line. They got a great offensive line. They have great weapons outside. Their quarterback play is very good. Their coaching is very good. What I struggle with is the Rhine Fire in kind of a different class. And I don't know. We'll see come playoff time, but it feels to me like Rhine is really separating themselves, and it's kind of Rhine and can anybody else compete? Vienna is one of those teams. If Vienna was in the West, they would be doing just fine, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just feel like this Vienna team is just, is in an easy conference, or in a conference that was easier, especially this year, than it should have been. But overall, I feel like it's a team that you could pretty much plug and play in any one of the conferences, and they're still going to find success. Like, Stuttgart and Rhine might be their toughest competition, but I feel like that they have a distinct advantage on Madrid and Paris and Munich, and those are the other teams that are kind of vying for this playoff spot. Tyrol, like, I just feel like that they're better than those teams on a straight advantage standpoint as a team. So I don't think the gap is as wide as it may have been in the past, but it's still pretty wide. So the other teams are starting to do things the right way. We'll see if it continues forward here as the years move on. But for me, right now, I would actually have to probably put Vienna as my number one in the power rankings, just because Rhine has that one loss. I'd probably put Rhine at 2, and then Stuttgart at 3. But that's just my power. If I did power rankings, that's just how I would have it right now. I don't know how you would look at it from a standpoint with those top 3, but
I would switch your 1 and 2. I would switch your 1 and 2, but that's it. And simply, I think Stuttgart's the close 3. Like I said, I really think that
definitely a close 3.
Yeah, and all those teams, I hope, are really close. Make it for an exciting playoffs, but it's tough to beat Rhine Fire, and they just look different. You watch the games; they just look faster. Everybody's well coached, and the best players in Europe, and it just looks like they're always a step ahead, and they always just have a little bit better athletes. So
yeah,
that's why I say it's kind of, until somebody knocks them off in the playoffs, to me, they're just in a different class.
Well, I don't know what happened there. I think we have you, Randy.
There we go. I'm back.
I'm not sure.
I don't know what's happening here.
Really strange. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. That was really strange. I don't know. I'm plugged in. I'm hardwired in, so I have no clue what's happening.
I usually have no problems I usually have no problems with my Wi-Fi. If it keeps working, if it keeps on lagging, I'll sign back in. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. I gotta just figure out, maybe it's something on my end. I'm not sure at all. But anyways, yeah, I don't disagree with you on any level, as far as the how you looked at the Rhine Fire and the Vienna Vikings and this and all that stuff, as far as that whole situation is concerned. And I'm not even really saying that you're incorrect about putting Rhine number 1, because it's hard not to put Rhine number 1, right? Like, especially with the way that they've been playing, So I don't blame you for that at all. Though interesting, Jamal put the Stuttgart in there as number 1 overall, which I thought was interesting. I thought that was extremely interesting. Not because I think Stuttgart's a bad team. We'll get on the topic of Stuttgart here in a little bit, but I don't know. It just, for me, it just seems like that it's Vienna, Rhine, and then everybody else. So we'll see what happens. So
what makes me excited?
The next game on. No, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I said what makes me excited is that we're all kind of split on what teams should be, on the top 3 teams. And so I just hope that kind of means good things and exciting football for the future here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. And that's probably one of the things that we'll obviously have to keep an eye on when it comes to this as well. So especially when it comes to Stuttgart and Rhine, because I think they're vying for the number 2 seed right now as it stands. So we'll see how that shakes out. The next game was Hamburg and Madrid. I think we expected Hamburg to do a little more than what they did. Let me double check here. Nah, we pretty much expected Hamburg to get kind of slaughtered a little bit here. They came in on the under. Madrid scored way higher than we expected, but this is kind of what we've been seeing from Steven Duncan, right? Against the teams that are in the bottom half of the league, Steven Duncan looks like an MVP candidate. And again, it's no knock against Steven Duncan because I think it's just right now him still trying to adjust to the overall nature of how this league works, being his first year. But he lit him up. He had a great game against Hamburg here.
Well, you called it. You really did. You said that Steven Duncan is going to play really well this week because they're, one, it's a bounce back game, and two, they're playing a maybe inferior opponent, and they lit them up like you said. So you would like to see. I think we talked about this last week, but it's just consistency. Their defense is so good. Their special teams is playing well, and then their offense, they show you this. And if they can just put it all together, they're a team that you talk about being able to compete with Vienna and Rhine and Stuttgart. They already beat Rhine this year, right? So that's where I hope that they can get on the offensive side of the ball. They can keep this momentum going for the rest of the season. But I was, on the flip side, disappointed again with how Hamburg performed. I thought it was going to be a closer game.
Yeah, and first and foremost, shout out to Justin Kellum. Thank you for joining us. And Jamal, he just mentioned that the Sea Devils are horrible, and maybe we overestimated their team this year instead of underestimated it. To be honest with you, I expected Javarian to be a little bit more when he came in. It didn't work. They're now on QB number 2 in this situation. I think it's D'Angelo Fulford. This team just has lacked across the board. It's been really kind of disappointing from a Hamburg standpoint, by all means. But no, for Madrid, this team feels like they're a year out, right? Like, we didn't get the chance to really see what this team has been doing if it was Chris Helbig, right? Again, not a knock on Steven Duncan by any means. It's just like, who knows what this team could be with the guy that they originally had brought in, right? Like, all across the board, no matter what happens. Regardless of that situation, like, this team just feels like they're probably about a year away from really making a real, like, a bigger splash. And it's crazy to say that because they're in the playoffs most likely, right? Like, this team is going to most likely make the playoffs, and yet we're still talking about them like, being quote unquote, a year away, which is just nuts to say. Are they a team that might be able to sneak in and kind of disrupt this playoffs if they can just find their footing against some of these top teams?
I think so, because at this point, who wants to play them? And you look at how it's kind of scheduled right now. It would be Madrid at Paris. I would not want to play the winner of either of those teams. They're just, you don't know what you're going to get, right? And Justin had a great point here about the offensive line. And I won't say they're horrible, but I think it is tough when I know some people in that organization there in Madrid. They just said it's tough to find 5 starters. So just in the country of Spain. And so I think that is a big issue that they're having there. Especially, Steven Duncan is a little bit more of a pocket guy. So like we saw against Paris, you get after him a little bit, you play some zero coverage, and things kind of derail fast. So they need to have a plan for that going forward, because like I said, if I'm a defensive coordinator, that's my game plan from here on out whenever I'm playing Madrid.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I think moving forward is going to happen with Madrid too. And actually, we mentioned, Zach and I talked about this, Jamal, last week. I don't think you were present. You weren't commenting in the thing. I think you just missed the overtime show last week, which is fine. But Zach and I talked a little bit about this moving forward with them playing each other. And we honestly believe that there is a chance, a really good chance, that one of these teams is going to miss and Munich is going to get in. Like, with the way that they're playing each other down the road, that there is a chance that one of these teams could do it. And I thought Paris was going to slip up, and we'll get to Paris in a minute here. But I something about Munich having the schedule that they're having down the stretch is is going to work out in their favor, I think, moving forward. So we'll touch base a little bit on that and discuss it as we move ahead. The last game on Saturday, which, we've actually spent more time on this than I thought we were going to, but there's been a lot of other things happening as well. But Stuttgart beat Milano 51-18. Milano just never really got under, off their, out of their, out of their funk in this start of this game. Stuttgart was up big at halftime. Second half settled down a little bit, but it felt like Stuttgart kind of took their foot off the gas a little bit.
Have we heard an update on Riley Hennessy?
I have not seen anything about Riley Hennessy yet, so I am not sure what the news is on him, but I have not seen anything yet. So,
because that to me is, obviously that's the season. So maybe Jamal has some insider information, but I haven't heard anything out of Stuttgart. But
yeah,
so that's where
Randy does too, Justin. Randy does too.
Yeah, I remember. I remember very well. My body remembers very well as well. My knees.
Sorry, I saw the comment. I had to throw it up there. I apologize. Go ahead, Randy.
Yeah. Not good times in Stuttgart for sure. We had Aaron Ellis on a couple weeks ago, so we were reminiscing about the good old days. Yeah, it's just that's the season. So I would like to see if he's healthy. They took him out mid-second quarter after he hurt his shoulder. So, and I don't like that it was a shoulder injury. That's not good. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. Because if Riley Hennessy's not there, then Stuttgart is out for me, as far as a championship contender. And
it's hard because. Yeah, it's hard because Riley Hennessy's been playing like an MVP caliber year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the way it's been going for him. So, if he's out for any length of period of time, it really makes it hard to put Stuttgart on, to put Stuttgart in the forefront if Hennessy's not there, right? So I completely agree with you. That's a great point as well.
And all these teams, how it kind of works in the league. As I believe, at least when I was playing, and I've heard it's the same, but they're allowed to bring in emergency import for the quarterback position later in the season. So I'm sure they have somebody. But the fact that we haven't heard anybody coming in, it's just like Jamal said, it's quiet in Stuttgart right now. And I don't know whether to take that as a good thing, as a good sign or a bad sign. I guess the positive thing is here, they're pretty much in the playoffs. So if he needs a week or two, they can give him a week or two. And that's, they put themselves in position to have that luxury. Not that you want to do that. You're trying to vie right now for, a bye. But ultimately the goal is to get into the playoffs healthy.
Yeah. And Jamal, to touch on this, to kind of put this in perspective, a couple of the quarterbacks that I had on last year, and talking to a few people off air this year, it sounds like the emergency signings were met at deadlining. So like at the deadline, emergency signings had to be there and under an emergency-esque type contract to be able to bring in case of an injury happens. And I believe each team has two at the quarterback position. From what I've heard, I don't know this 100%. I'm not sure of the league rules on that front, but that's what I've heard. Is they allow two in case there's another injury down the road. So
they allow two, and they also sorry to cut you off. There's a good point. It's a good point, and I also think at least this was the case when I played. Other teams don't know who's on the list, so that's why they have two. So like when I played, someone needed an emergency quarterback, but another team signed him. He was actually two teams' emergency quarterback, so that's why you kind of have two players on that list. And you have to report that list to the league, I believe, before the deadline, so they know these players.
Okay.
And who they are.
All right, perfect. So anyways, that's what I heard. So apparently I was told correctly, or what I've gathered from that standpoint. I kind of pieced some of that together from various sources. I never asked outright. So at least look at that, Randy coming through in the clutch for me. Thank you, Randy.
No problem. So fourth quarter, late throw here in the fourth quarter. Something we didn't do in Stuttgart, Justin. Thanks for bringing it up.
Oh man, now Randy's sad. But he's eating cheese pizza, so he's not that sad, right?
Not that sad. Not that sad.
I just got to laugh at it, Caroline. I heard it in the background. All right, enough with Saturday. Moving on to the day that mattered the most, and what I'll first start with is I'll start with the game that didn't matter on Sunday. We'll start with Munich and Prague. Munich put up 47, beat Prague 47-14. I say it doesn't matter because Prague was, they were eliminated before this week. They're now officially eliminated. But what were your takeaways from this one? I think that we kind of expected this one to kind of go this way.
Yeah, we did. I don't love that Prague took the opening drive for a 10-play drive that resulted in a touchdown after what we saw out of the Munich defense the week prior. But from that point on, they did play pretty well. So that's kind of my takeaway is if this team wants to be serious contenders down the road, they're going to have to play better defense. And we'll see if they can do that. I still think that right now, T-Roll has a more complete team looking ahead to that game later in the season, but I have no idea. I feel like it's a toss-up.
Yeah. I just think that the schedule down the stretch is kind of a little bit favorable to Munich. Moving forward here, but like you said, that first and foremost, impressive drive by Prague. I'm going to give them their flowers; they deserve it. That was an impressive opening drive. If they could do that for 4 quarters, I know it's impossible to do for every drive, but man, that would just, if I could see it more often from them, that would be great. But Munich's X Factor, and Justin just mentioned in the chat as I was getting ready to do it, Munich's X Factor is Malik Stanley. That dude is a stud. He is an absolute stud for Munich. Oh,
one of the best players in the ELF. Got to play against him in Warclaw. I know I brought this up last week, but he actually played receiver for one of my buddies at South Alabama, quarterback, a friend of mine, and he just had nothing but good things to say about him. And he's such a good athlete. You would love to have him on the outside. But yeah, I'm looking at the box score here. Prague, after that opening drive, I believe had only 2 or 3 drives that weren't 3 and outs or ended in turnovers after that drive. So it's rough. They need to, like you said, that you got to figure out a way to put it together here. But hats off to Munich, for coming back after a bad defensive game to Milano with a new quarterback, and they put the clamps on there after the first quarter.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice of them to sit down a little bit and settle down a little bit and really kind of rein a lot of that in and put their stamp on this game early after the first quarter. So they didn't allow Prague to hang around, which you can see sometimes happen in some of these trap style games. So kudos to them for that. Now, it's only fitting that this game, Frankfurt and Cologne, decided to be the Frankfurt and Cologne from the first time these two played, which Randy, I think, texted me the first game and said, this is probably the greatest ELF game I've ever watched, or one of the greatest ELF games I've ever watched. I don't know about you, but I felt like this one was better than that one, even though it wasn't a back and forth battle until the very late in the game. It just felt really intense. Like, I don't know how you feel about it, and it's fitting that it's on this week because I think there's the last game we'll talk about might have outdone both those games, but we'll get to that in a minute. What were your thoughts on this one? Were you as impressed with this one, more impressed with this one than the first one, or about even? What were your thoughts?
Man, such a good game. First of all, I mean, it had everything that you want. It had high scoring. It had back and forth there at the end. It had a major comeback by Cologne, being down 3 scores to come back and win that game. So for me, I think if we're comparing the first two, the only reason I'd still put the other game first was just the aesthetics Cologne was playing in, weren't they having the issues with the stadium? There weren't that many people there. And Frankfurt just looked like, if I wanted to show someone what an ELF game was, when that game was in Frankfurt, Cologne earlier in the season, back and forth game, it was a good game. That's
true.
I don't know. That would make it a close tie, or maybe I'd still go with the other one. But overall, just gameplay, that was an awesome game. And that was it the first overtime game this season? Am I wrong on that? But
no, I think you're right. I think it was the first overtime game this year. So
yeah, so it lived up to the hype. I thought it was going to be we all thought it was going to be a good game again. I think I might have picked Frankfurt. So not.
You did. I mean, I wasn't going to bring it up, but since you brought it up, I'm going to get.
You bring it up. You called it.
You did pick Frankfurt. You picked them 31-26. I picked Cologne 27-22.
Okay. Yeah, I was wrong. It looked like I was right there for about 3 quarters, and then I don't know. I think I texted you after the game too. It's going to get loud in Frankfurt with the coaching situation there, so it'll be we'll see what happens after the season, but I would like to see Isaiah Weed stay in Cologne. That's for sure.
I would too, and I would like to see Cologne start hire a damn social media coordinator or something. Maybe Caroline has a friend that she can send their way to do their socials, because their online presence awful. So like the Cologne could have played. I know she doesn't think they belong in the league. I know she wants.
They just beat Frankfurt.
She doesn't want them in the league.
They just beat the team that won the first ELF championship, Caroline. She doesn't like their social media presence either. Not if you're in the ELF.
Well, they don't have one.
Yeah.
They don't have one. That's the problem. Yes, Jamal. They offensively, Frankfurt called the terrible second half for sure. I did read, man, that Cologne was literally so bad on social media that they literally are dead last with social media followings. And we're talking about Prague, who's never won a game in the league, has a higher online media presence than they do. That's a problem. They need to figure that out, because Isaiah Weed needs to have his stuff posted, and the team should be posting it. Like, sorry, it's not good.
No. But what a game!
Now,
awesome game. Awesome.
Amazing game. This game preluded to the next game, because that was the 7:00 game. So you got that game, and then you got Paris and Berlin right after it, and this might be the best game of the year. I mean, you could argue that this game might be the game of the year. Man, dude, Paris though, man, scary. Like, we talked about it. We talked about how Berlin's offense may give them a little bit of fits and cause problems if that Paris defense was off a little bit. Number 1 ranked defense gives up 37. 37.
Yeah.
Paris found their offense at least, but it's against another kind of a trash defensive team. So, yeah. What are your thoughts on this one? Because I thought this game was great. So
I thought this game was great. This does not make me feel any better about Paris. And I feel bad, because I feel like every week I come on here and talk bad about Paris. They're going to make the playoffs. I can't wait to watch them in the playoffs. I wouldn't want to play them if I were in the playoffs. They got a great team, but I'm watching the game, and Zach Edwards is getting killed. I mean, absolutely destroyed. So I don't love that. I thought that was, and I know it's Kyle Kitchens, but he took a lot of shots, and you just can't have your quarterback be taking those hits, especially when the playoffs, when we roll into the postseason here. And then allowing 37 points to Berlin is, I'll let it slide. It's Berlin. It's Jacob Sullivan. They got a solid offense. So I'm not as worried about that, but I just kind of walked away from that game like, how is Zach Edwards going to play in the playoffs on his back? That was my takeaway.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I felt as well. And Jamal and Justin are having a nice little chat back and forth about Berlin and the city and the and the team in the chat. It's kind of entertaining. Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. Like, it definitely does not make me feel very good about Paris, especially considering when you take a look at Paris, they travel to Cologne next week for their fourth straight away game, and then they come back and play Madrid at home the following week. So, like, these are two games that, especially this Madrid game, the Cologne game next week, is not as it looks a little suspect now. Like, we talked about how this offense has been kind of one dimensional, kind of struggled, and I think they scored 19 points the two previous weeks combined, because it was like, what, 13 against Madrid, but they beat Madrid because of the defense and special teams, and then they put up 6 the following week after that in a game that I thought maybe they'd get back on track, and against who was it? It was Ryan. It was Ryan,
Yep.
right? Ryan kicked the doors off them. And then they go out and almost lose to Berlin, because they should have technically lost this game. Like you said, Zach Edwards was under a lot of pressure, getting hit a lot. He's the most sacked quarterback in ELF history. The dude can't find an offensive line. Either that or he's holding on to the ball too long. I'm not sure what it is, but I mean, they do need to figure this out, because I still don't know who they are. I still don't think we found an identity with this team.
No, I mean, I've been saying this for the whole season, but their identity is Zach Edwards. So, like I said, he's gonna take a lot of hits, because that's just the game plan. Is the ball is he's either running the ball, he's holding on to it for too long because no one's open, whatever it is. He he is their team and he is their identity. And so when he's on his back, that's what makes me it just makes me worried for who you're when you get to the playoffs, when you're playing against Stuttgart, when you're playing against Vienna's defensive line, when you're playing against Rhine again, um, it's tough sledding. It's an uphill battle. And outside of them, I think Chris Bumbo ran the ball well again this week, last week, but he needs some help. And I don't know if it's the scheme or whatever, but that's just my concern for Paris going forward. I do think they beat Cologne. We'll get into that. I think they show up, and I think they probably win out going into the playoffs. But I'm just concerned about the playoff team that they're going to have.
So when I was watching this game, Austin Mitchell and Anthony Mohagadou.
Yeah.
Is Mohagadou? Mohagadou came back from injury. And I agree. Austin Mitchell needs Anthony Mohagadou on the field. And I felt like that this Paris offense only really kind of got a flow of this game when they started almost just volume hawking Austin Mitchell. Right? They targeted him. He was getting open every single time that this guy had the ball in his hands. He was making a play of some sort, but it really came because Anthony Mohagadou was back on the field, right? Like, that's just the way that was working out. And if they can find a way to get Anthony involved, they could potentially be as dangerous as almost any other team that's going to make this playoffs. And I wanted to bring that up because both those were mentioned in the chat, and those were both guys that I think are key to helping Zach Edwards out.
You're absolutely, and you're right that you kind of can't have one without the other. This from a quarterback's perspective, when you're looking at their defense, tough to double both. Can't. And if you want to double both, then Zach Edwards could take off and run because it's a light box. So it's tough to defend against. And then when they get the ground game going, it's really tough to defend against. So like you said, they're dangerous. I wouldn't want to play them, but there's just something where it's like I compare them to the Dallas Cowboys of the NFL. Like they're almost like the Dallas Cowboys of the ELF. They're gonna beat the teams they need to beat. They're gonna beat the brakes off of some other teams, and then they're gonna have that one win that you're like, this team is a championship team, and then they go out and lose and get run over by somebody else that is actually a competitor. So that's where this team is too much of a roller coaster for me. Even last week was a roller coaster.
Yeah, it was very much a roller coaster. I want to look ahead real quick. So we talked about Cologne, we talked about Madrid, and then Paris finishes out the year on the road against Frankfurt. So that's their next 3 games. So they have a fairly favorable. Apparently that word's hard tonight. I guess if I was on Sesame Street, that'd be the word of the day. Schedule. But at the same time, and we'll talk about Cologne when we get to our previews and predictions, but at the same time, I don't know about this next game. This next game is going to be very telling moving forward. I mean, it is their 4th straight road game, and they are going against a very tough Cologne team. So we'll touch base on that and once we get through our sponsor, Current. And then on the flip side, we'll get to the previews, predictions. Justin and Jamal, if you guys are hanging around, would love to hear yours as well. Let's hear from our sponsor real quick.
This is Current. It's the card my parents used to pay me for mowing the lawn, running errands, and doing well in school.
Oh, wow.
This is the card I used when we got the idea to make our own clothes. And we spread the word, drove downtown, and sold everything we made. This is the card I use to do the things that really matter. This is Current. Visit current.com and download the app for free today.
Welcome back. Make sure you use Current. Make sure when you use Current, you go over to CK Customs as well and, get yourself a nice little, something from Randy's wife's, business. Go support it. It's a local business, and she's really good at what she does. That was a terrible pitch, by the way, Randy. I apologize. Tell Caroline I apologize for that. It was a terrible pitch. I don't have a thing in front of me, so.
Michael, she likes you, so she left the room. She'll be back, I'm sure. So I'll just tell her Michael had this great pitch for CK's Customs while you were on. So no, I appreciate it very much.
What did you say?
What did he say?
Michael was just talking about CK's Customs, how everybody needs to order something.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. She can be an unofficial sponsor for the show.
Fun, quick backstory. She started that in Stuttgart, actually. So she did actually a jacket for Chris Vombo's girlfriend, and that's kind of how it started.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So,
No wonder why you guys are
full circle.
Full circle. Look at that. Full circle.
Yep.
Full circle. Alrighty. So let's start off with week 12 as we move forward. 7 games. Will the Prague Lions get their first win? They traveled to VFR to take on the Enthroners. Is it going to happen, Randy?
Yes.
Ooh. All right. It's going to happen, Randy says.
I don't feel great. I don't feel good about it. I just want to go on record because if I'm wrong, nobody's gonna remember it. Nobody cares. But if I'm right, I can say I predicted the first win in Prague history. So Prague Lions win a barn burner 17-10. I actually think it's gonna be higher scoring. I'm gonna go
Okay.
Prague 25, VFR 18.
25-18. So since you stole what I was going to do,
Sorry.
because I was going to take Prague as well. Jamal says 0-42 in Throners. Yeah, that I mean,
Okay.
The Prague Lions have announced that Justin Kelm will be starting at quarterback. Who is Prague's quarterback right now? It's David Perkins, isn't it? Isn't Perkins still there? Pretty sure Perkins is still there.
Good look.
Oh, and Jamal says take the over as well, Randy, if you're so.
The over-under for the game is 42? Or
I don't know. I don't know what the – oh, that's what it is. And Throner's over 42. Oh, okay. So, yes.
I am taking the over, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
He said the Enthroners and over 42. Okay, perfect. All right, I got it. I'm taking Prague in this game as well. I'm going to do it because, like you said, if I don't get it right, nobody cares, right? Like, who the hell cares? If I get it right, if I get it wrong, nobody cares. If I get it right, hey, I can brag about it being like I predicted the first one. However, I do not think it's going to be as open of a margin as you have it as. I think Prague wins by 2. I think they win 26-24.
Okay. I was trying to keep it one score.
Yeah. Well, you did a good job. You did a good job of that. I mean, it's a 7-point differential. I mean,
I was also trying to throw out some weird scores because that's how the league is.
Yeah, I mean, because they don't know how to kick.
Yeah.
I make that mistake as well. Let's see. The Madrid Bravos traveled to Frankfurt. Safety to end the game.
I was laughing at you. I was laughing at Justin's safety to end the game.
Safety to end the game. Yeah. Perfect. And it comes on a botched field goal attempt. Goes over the guy's head.
That would be a great ending. That would be the perfect way to end an Enthroners Lions game, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
It'd be awesome.
I think it would be a perfect ending to for sure. So Madrid travels to Frankfurt. Jamal throws out our first big surprise here.
I am very tempted to piggyback on Jamal. I was going to say that too. That I think this is a trap game for Madrid, and I think that Frankfurt is better than their record for sure. They're kind of like Cologne, where you just don't. They're definitely not in the lower tier of teams. They're kind of right in the middle, but they still can compete with everybody. So this one's tough. I want to hear what yours are before I say. But if I have to go first, I'll go.
I can easily go first. I think you're both nuts.
Okay.
I don't think this game is going to be as close at all. I'm predicting this one to be like 44-17. Like I think Madrid is just when it comes to Stephen Duncan, they play these lower teams. It's just it's lights out, and Willie P is not talked about enough when it comes to when it comes to the wide receiver, especially the American import, talk a lot. So I just think that they're just going to get it done. I think Madrid has their goal in sight, and they know that after this game, it's Paris. I just don't hope they aren't looking ahead to Paris, but there is a possibility that those two teams could play 3 times this year because they're most likely going to meet in the first round of the playoffs. So I think that they want to make sure that they stay ahead so they have home field advantage for that playoff game. And I think that they're going to come in and handle business against Frankfurt. Adam, I would say that it's weird, except for this league is kind of in its infancy. It's still only 4 years old or so it's not like it's been around for a long period of time. I still think they're going to need to figure it out, and I think eventually those conferences will level them out to either 2 conferences with divisions inside, or it will end up being 4 conferences, and they'll just go with that from there on out. I'm not sure how they plan on doing it, but it's going to be one of those 2 things. They'll either do 2 conferences and do divisions underneath, or they'll end up doing 4 conferences and calling it good eventually. That would be my guess. So
yeah, I would hope they go to 4. That'd be nice. And then I would also like to see scheduling based off of strength of schedule and maybe some geography. But it's crazy to me that Vienna isn't playing a Rhine Fire this year or something. It doesn't make sense. So anyway, but I think I'm going back and forth in my head here. I'm gonna go Madrid, and the reason is because of last time they played. I just think that they were the superior team. Now they had a different quarterback. Frankfurt did. Give me Madrid 32, Frankfurt 20.
32-20. So you went from being on the edge of upset city and piggybacking off the trap game to saying just kidding, basically. Is what
I trust the Madrid coaches more than I trust the Frankfurt coaches. If you want the breakdown, the how I'm wrestling in my head, I trust those coaches, and I think that when you have good coaching, and if they're staying focused, there really is no such thing as a trap game. So that's why I'm going Madrid.
Yeah, this is Jamal, he said it's going to be year 2 BS Vienna when they upset him. I mean, you never know. I mean, we did see some pretty crazy things. Adam wanted to know how many teams will be in the league next year. Adam, that's a very interesting question because we don't really know at this point. You know, like there's some rumors or some suggestion, you know, of some things, but yeah, I'm not sure, Adam. I can't. It's tough to answer that question right now without knowing the announcements of some things, you know, possible expansions and et cetera, et cetera. What about you, Randy? Any idea what you might see, you know, what we might end with next year? Or
Yeah, you know, Adam, I've heard some people inside the league say that they might pare down the teams that they have this year, while also still adding 1 or 2. So I don't know if overall that results in a net loss or not with the teams they're going to add. But I think we'll probably be around the same number as this year, if not maybe give or take like 1, maybe 16 teams. So we'll see. That'd be my guess, though.
Yeah. And Jamal, it's not that necessarily that I trust Duncan. It's I just trust Duncan against teams that are in the bottom half. The Galaxy, I do believe, are better than what their record shows. I think they are better overall than what they have shown this year. It just feels like that with this Madrid defense being the way that they are and how things are going, it makes it very difficult to pick against them when they are playing a quote unquote lesser opponent. And that's just kind of where I am with that as well. Adam, I don't believe so. I don't think so. It doesn't. I mean, they're over in Europe. The NFL is. I'm glad they're trying to get some interest and spark some interest up over there, but I don't see them bringing in or reviving the old NFL Europe at all. If anything, if they wanted to get back into Europe, I would actually like to see them help invest in the league. Personally, that's already there. That's just my personal opinion.
I agree. And Justin, I do think that at some point Amsterdam will be added. We'll see. I don't know. I don't think next year, but that's my guess. I don't think the Scottish Claymores are coming back. There's always rumors about a London team, but I don't know if those are serious or not.
So Jamal wants to bet push-ups again.
What do you want to bet push-ups on, Jamal? This game?
I think the Bravos.
He wants to do this game?
I think the Bravos are
yeah. I'll bet push-ups on it. Let's bet push-ups on it and double it. So double the score difference.
Woo!
How about that?
Jamal, you good with that? Huh? He says he's going with Frankfurt. So you want to double it? Oh boy. Justin did say he agrees with you 100%. He said his boy in Amsterdam told him that he's heard it as well. So apparently Amsterdam is definitely on the radar somewhere. He said I'm good. I don't know if that means yes or if he means like I'm good, like I'm no.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Justin says I'm fat. I need to do push-ups. I mean, I do too. I need a personal trainer. That's what I need. I'm losing. I'm getting there.
I saw that video of Jamal doing push-ups after our last bet. I feel like he could be everyone's personal trainer here. I would do Jamal boot camp. Jamal. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with another J word. Jamal's
Jamboree.
That's a G, but
Jamal's Jamboree.
Jamal's Jamboree. Yeah. Jamal's weight loss Jamboree.
Weight loss Jamboree. Yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah. The dude is stacked. That's for sure.
Yeah.
The Raiders T-roll taking on Stuttgart in Stuttgart. This is interesting one. This is the first like real like we got to pay attention to what's happening with the schedule right here. Oh, and real quick, Adam, just to answer your question before we get on the next game, I do not think Leipzig is going to reform. By the way, I don't think it's going to happen. It's unfortunate what happened there. It's unfortunately, but yes.
The league said they're done with the expansion in Germany. So
I mean that's good. We don't need any more German teams. I mean, we're fine with what we have, so that's good. All right, Raiders and Surge. This is most likely a playoff preview. So
If Hennessy is not playing, the Raiders win. If he is playing, the Surge win. So I have no idea how to pick this game because the league doesn't.
We'll go with Riley Hennessy playing.
Riley
We'll go
Hennessy
with Riley Hennessy playing. We'll go with that.
Okay. Then give me. He's a little banged up. Give me them winning by still 2 scores. I'll go 35-22.
35-22.
He will play. Do we have sources here, Justin?
Well, I mean, I'll let Justin. Justin showed me his source. I'll let Justin.
Oh yeah, you don't have to say your source. If you say you
yeah.
have a source, I'll believe you.
Justin showed me his source, so
okay.
I'll leave it at that.
So Riley Hennessy told him he's playing. Awesome. So we're good.
I love how Randy just assumed that was the source, and I'm not going to say yes or no. I got the Surge in this game too. The thing about the T-Roll Raiders, man, is really hard. It's like N'Kosi Perry has played well, but he just has not played a full 4 quarters. I said it every week. I'm sure that the same viewers that tune in every week are sick and tired of me saying that and Vienna's balanced. I'm sure they are. I'm sick of myself saying it, but until they actually do something about it, I'm going to keep saying it. The Raiders defense is really good, but I think the Surge defense is actually what really, really helps. You know what I mean? Like, I just think that they're one of the only other teams that can really keep up with the Raiders defense. So I'm going to take Stuttgart in this game. I don't know if it's going to be a 2-score game. If it is, it might be like a 9-point victory, maybe like an 8-point victory. I don't know, somewhere in that range. I'm going to say this one is going to be. Man, you were so close to my score originally, but I'm thinking about changing it now. So I'm going to say
jump on the bandwagon. Let's go.
I'm going to say 28-20 Stuttgart. I don't know how they're going to get to that 28. It will not be your traditional 4 touchdowns and extra points, but they'll get to that 28 moniker somehow. And I think they're going to win this game for sure. He said to clarify, it's to will they revive the remaining teams that were formerly part of the NFL Europe?
And that's what Adam, I was saying. I could see, in all reality, an Amsterdam team coming back, the Admirals. I could definitely see that. London, there's a bunch of rumors, but they're never substantiated. Every year that someone thinks the London Monarchs are coming back, I have pretty good intel that there might be an Amsterdam team at some point. So I think Amsterdam, and then I haven't heard nothing about the Scottish Claymores, but that's, let me look it up. I mean, that's everybody, right? Yeah, everybody else is in the league. So as far as reviving it, I think there's a good chance that you see the Admirals coming back, Scottish Claymores, no, and then London Monarchs are just kind of a big question mark right now.
I'm just going to say I love the Scottish Claymores names.
Yeah.
That's awesome to me. The name is fantastic. Can we call the Amsterdam Willie Nelsons or the Amsterdam Snoop Dogs?
There we go. Yeah.
Is that good? One of the two? Yeah. Trap game alert. The Musketeers traveling to Cologne to take on the Centaurans, who just came off that tough game against the Galaxy. Did the Centaurans spend all their energy enough to be able to pull this upset off, or is Paris exhausted from 4 straight games?
It is exhausting to play 4 straight road games, but I'm going to take Paris. Your cat made an appearance.
Yes, this is Apollo. He's
Apollo.
The god of the sun. He is a little tiny nightmare demon. He's part lynx. Hi.
Okay.
Yeah, he's part lynx. He made an appearance though. There you go, buddy. Congratulations, you're a superstar on YouTube.
Yeah, who does he want to? Who does Apollo want to win? I'm going Paris. And I'm going not particularly close. I think they win 33-13.
33-13. Okay. And it looks like you and Jamal are on the same page for this game, so I guess there's no push-ups that need to be, beat there. By any chance, do you know if the league mandates that the officials are either bilingual or speak English? I do know that they all speak English when they announce the penalties, so I don't know if it's you know.
I would assume it's a kind of, I don't know if it's a official requirement, but no other, they have to speak English when they announce the penalties. So also, Adam, I would say most Europeans, especially Germans, I actually know the Frank, he officiates a lot of games. He was our best official in Denmark. But they all speak, they grow up learning English as their second language. So they probably just all know it. The league probably doesn't have to vet that.
Yeah. I was wondering the same thing. So I'm pulling for, or I'm not pulling for, but I'm predicting the upset. I'm taking Cologne. 4 straight road games, tough situation. This Cologne team is a tough team. They already proved that they can play in front of tens of people and win and not care. I think they beat Paris 29-26 and really put Paris in kind of a hot water. I don't know. Maybe it's my Isaiah Weed bias, but
I was about to say.
I just think Cologne is playing a more complete ball than Paris right now.
What was the score of the game they played before the Paris game?
Oh, I don't know. I'm sure this Cologne probably got blown out like 54-3 or some shit. But
yeah,
this is a different team.
In 2 weeks.
This is a different team.
Okay.
This is a different Cologne team. Okay.
Okay.
I'm probably way wrong on this, and if you are a betting man, do not listen to me. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm just throwing that out there. Do not.
Cologne lost to Madrid. They got shut out 35-0. Now it was on the road, so I don't know. But just to throw that out there.
Yeah, as he says it with a smirk, like you're an idiot for picking Cologne, basically.
No. I was about to say I am rooting for what you're saying. I'm a big Isaiah Weed fan. That guy is so fun to watch. So if they can come out there and pull up the big upset, that would be awesome.
I'm taking the under in this one. That seems high for an over-under.
It's way too high.
Yeah, that seems pretty high for an over-under. I mean, granted, Paris could probably score 45 on their own, but still, it seems pretty high. Yeah, for sure. You know, Adam, the way that I look at this right here is, to be honest with you, as much as I don't like it, I'm glad that they have the options that they have, because it boils down to about $1 a game for us Americans, and because you get every game and the playoffs and the championship game as well. But I also like the fact that they have individual games. So if you want to avoid, some of these more lopsided games like the one we're going to discuss next, you don't have to pay for it. Like you can just go on and just pay for an individual game. So I kind of actually like that option because it also generates. I mean, I'm sure it doesn't generate. I don't know how much value it does generate, but it does generate some kind of money flow at least to the league. So I much prefer. I would much rather pay the, $1 a game package and deal with that way than I would, having it for free and the league going under in 5 years, basically. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they make a lot of money off of it, and I know America's one of their biggest markets for the Game Pass. So that's kind of cool. Is that they have so many fans over here.
It just breaks down to $1 a game, man. Like it's worth it if it's just like if you look at it from a per game standpoint instead of a yearly thing. It's a one-time cost, right? If you can just chunk it out and make your payment on it and then let it sit and forget about it, like it's $1 a game. You just don't really work on it. And one last question before we get on to the next game here. I don't think it will ever become as popular as the NFL because that's kind of a separate juggernaut. But what I will say to you, Adam, is the sooner that we can get out of the mindset that every single one of these leagues should be compared to the NFL, I think the better viewer experience it is and a better fan experience it is for everybody. If you just tackle each league as an individual league and understand that what you're watching is still professional football, then it doesn't change your perspective. But when you start comparing it to the NFL, you're literally taking leagues and comparing them to the top 0.2% or 0.1% of all professional football players, basically, because that's what the NFL basically is, right? They take the legit top of the top. Randy made a very great point last week. If you compare it to college football, it is way more enjoyable of an experience to watch. Am I correct, Randy? Is anything I say there was incorrect, or?
It was all perfect. All perfect. I mean, think about it, Adam. So the best players in the ELF, the top, they get IPP, International Pathway. They get the opportunity to play in the NFL. The NFL is taking the very best players in the world. So yeah, I would compare it to college, not the NFL. To answer you said to clarify, you mean how many teams there are? No, I don't think so. And the reason is simply, like Michael said at the beginning, is it's just not as popular as it is here. So we have 32 teams in America because football is king. It's a tens of $1 billion business, right? But it's also the most popular sport here. Over there, soccer is king, and it will be forever or for the foreseeable future. So think of America. American football is more and actually not as well developed yet as like the MLS is. So there's not going to be as many MLS teams as there are going to be the English Premier teams, all of the professional high-level soccer clubs that are within Spain, Germany, et cetera, every country. So I don't think it's like Michael's saying, good to compare to the NFL. I know that the league has said their goal is 24 teams.
I was going to say 24, right?
Yeah. But I think they're backpedaling on that as the league develops and they see a lot of these blowout games, and they want a competitive league. And if that means having 18 teams that are super competitive, that's where I think the league is trying to find that sweet spot. And I think after this season, they're going to err on the side more of less is more.
I will say that I do believe that they can get to 24. I think that they just need to find a way to make it so it's a competitive balance, but they also need to work much slower than what they did, right? Like it was from year 2 to 3, they jumped in and brought in 7 expansion teams or 6 expansion teams. Like you can't grow too fast, too much, because you end up cannibalizing yourself. If it's a slow, steady growth, which I think that they're starting to finally realize is the way to do it, I think that they can get there. I do believe that there is room for American football to become as popular, not as popular, but just underneath the popularity of soccer in Europe. It's just, it's a slow burn. Like this is a brand new sport being introduced to a region that soccer has reigned supreme for years in comparison to American football, right? Like I think it can get there because you see it with the NFL games and how quickly they sell out. There is a niche for it. It's just, they need to grow and find a way so they can get the competitive balance right for the league. But we're in our infancy. It's only year 4. We're gonna have these issues, so it's only a matter of time, I think, before it works out. It's just a slow, steady. What is it? The tortoise and the hare. Tortoise wins the race, right? Jamal, is this NC State? Like, is this NC State that you're saying go Wolfpack? And also, fuck Florida. Go FSU. All right. And go Black Bears for sure. Always. We can agree on the Black Bears. All right, Randy. The next game, Dragons and Ravens. I mean, do we really need to spend a ton of time on this one?
Ravens by 40. Let's go 50 to 10 to 6. 50 to 6.
You're a lot more generous than I am.
Really? You're going to 78 to 2?
I'm doing 62 to nothing.
There we go.
I hate to say, look, first and foremost, I hate it so much for Barcelona. I really do. I hate it so much for Barcelona. But this year has not been their year. Just go out, do your best, and regroup in the offseason, and hopefully, fingers crossed, you can put it back together for next year. So,
hey, real quick, Jamal, thank you so much. Yeah, Caroline, she left, but if she were here, she would say go Pack. So.
Is she an NC State Pack? Is it
Oh
NC
yeah,
State?
big.
Oh.
Her, my father-in-law played quarterback there.
Okay.
And
All
right. for like a year, but he was on the team.
Okay.
And then they have season tickets. They go to all the games. I go to a few. We try and go as many as we can. So
Yeah.
big NC State fan.
Well, that I don't mind NC State, so it's okay. Hey, Jamal, I still love you, even though you're on the wrong side of the fence in the Florida Wars. It's okay. Let me know when your team gets good again, though. Panthers and Thunder. These two always seem to have some pretty good games when they play each other. Another one here on the horizon?
No. Give me Berlin 36 and Wroclaw 13.
Wow. Okay. This is a tale of two teams that don't know how to play defense, and two teams that have two different various styles of offense. However, I think the Panthers can grind out a victory with their run game here. I don't think they're going to. I think they can, because I think the ball control game and the time of possession game will lean heavily in their favor. However, the secondary can't stop a sneeze. It's literally like a wet piece of toilet paper. It's awful. I don't think it will be a blowout, but I do not expect it to be good. This game literally might be a situation where if Panthers defense is able to disrupt the Berlin offense and keep them out of rhythm, that's going to be their best chance to win. That's it. That's the little key to the game for victory. That's the Mike Washington keys to victory that nobody ever asked for, but there it is. Disrupt this offense, and you can win this game with your ball control and time of possession. They don't. They're going to lose this game 33-25.
Close, though. I was about to say, you had Jacob Sullivan as your MVP guy early in the season, so you got to give him some love.
I expect it to be a close game. It's just I don't think the Panthers have enough on the defensive side, especially in the secondary, to be able to stop the big plays from happening. And when you have Aaron Jackson on the other side and your secondary is literally Swiss cheese, it makes a huge problem for anybody. Yeah, so I'm still taking the Thunder. I just think that the ball control game is going to be good for the Panthers, and if they can find a way to disrupt Sullivan in this offense, then sure, whatever. But at this point in time, it is what it is. Jamal, honestly, that's a good question as far as Jacob is concerned. I honestly think he should be back in Berlin next year. I don't think that the issues that's happened with Berlin is his fault. That's just my opinion. So,
I was actually, Jamal, I was watching the game against Paris, and I was thinking of the same thing. It's like, is he a guy that will be back next year? And then I started looking around the league and what quarterbacks he's better than. And I still feel like he's definitely top half of the league, right? So if I were a team, I would certainly want to bring him back. And when you watch him play, he's still that kind of twitchy athlete, twitchy thrower, makes good, quick decisions, doesn't put the ball in harm's way often. He's definitely kind of playing on somewhat of a inferior team for him, what he's used to. So I would like to see him back, and I hope that he has a chance.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he's better than some of the quarterbacks that are around this league as well. I think that there's I think that he's had a good enough season this season to audition for a job next year. Like, it's definitely not like it's been his fault in Berlin. It has not been poor quarterback play personally. I just think it's been this team has just not found a defensive solution to their problems. You know, it's been mainly defense.
And if you're Frankfurt, do you think that your season would have been better with him playing or worse? And I feel like everyone in Frankfurt right now is probably wishing that he was still their quarterback. Not that McKay's.
I think Randy froze again. Oh, there you go. He's back. He came back. So you were saying not that McKay, and then you went into like mannequin mode where you just kind of froze.
Not that McKay has played bad. I enjoy watching McKay play. Former NC State guy there.
Yep.
I think he certainly has the talent to play in the league. I'm not saying that. I just more mean earlier in the season with Frankfurt, where you're watching a week 3 Frankfurt game, saying to yourself, yeah, this looks way better without Jacob Sullivan. I think the answer is no.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you there too, and I think that's and I think also at the same time, like I said, like if you're Berlin and you're looking at Sullivan, can you really honestly internally go, our issues have been Berlin? I mean, Sullivan. You know what I mean? Like internally, you can't. I don't think you can look at it from a front office standpoint and go, we need to make sure we address quarterback. You know, like it just doesn't feel like it's one of those situations. So, yeah, I think I think he should get another shot and whatnot. This is an interesting one too.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Johnson, right, from Potsdam, because the Royals have been really making a lot of headlines. Like Henderson, is it Henderson? Jalen Henderson? No, what's his last name? Is it Henderson? Can you hear me, Randy?
Yeah, I can. Oh, sorry. I thought we were asking Jamal. My bad.
No, Henderson. Yeah.
Yep.
No, I thought I wasn't sure. I said Johnson, but that didn't sound right. I think Jalen Johnson was somebody else, but yeah, Henderson. Yeah.
Oh, we were asking our,
No, it's. I just want to make sure you could hear me. I thought my headset died. I was like, I'm talking to myself.
I'm just sitting here nodding, like. Yep.
Yeah, Henderson for Potsdam.
My bad.
He's had a sensational year. His numbers are friggin' sensational.
Yeah.
Let's see. The Sea Devils and at the Fire at Rhine. Thoughts?
I thought you were about to say I'm going to pick Hamburg.
I mean, are you going to pick Hamburg?
No.
Oh, okay. No.
I do think, like Jamal said, I just think that right now everything looks easy for Rhine Fire. I mean, it looks like they're not even trying and they're beating teams by 30. And teams like Paris. So, and that's what really good teams make it look like. They're a very good team. So, to me, it's Rhine Fire, and then it's Vienna and Stuttgart. And then tier 3 is everybody else. So, yeah, I think that Rhine wins handily. I think they win. I don't know about by 54. Might not be far off. Let's go 39 to 14. Rhine Fire.
All right. They're not going to win by 54, Jamal. They're going to win by 53. No. I mean, they're going to win by a lot, though. It's not going to be pretty. I'm going to say 51-9. I'm sorry. I wish I could take a look at Hamburg and go, yeah, this game's going to be close and they're going to upset them. It's not a trap game to me. I think Ryan's just going to come in, handle business, and Glenn Tunga might run for 300 yards. I mean.
What's tough to me is Hamburg looks the part. Like when they show them on camera, on whatever, they look the part. They got some big dudes up front. They got all the athletes. They look the part of a good football team. And then every week they go out there and disappoint you. There's just on pure eye test, they look like, man, this team is great. And so that's what's confusing to me about them, is it's just they're in Germany, they're in Hamburg, they got good players. What gives? And it's unfortunate for them and then how the season's worked out. But yeah, Ryan Fire should handle business here.
Yeah, I agree. I think so as well. Do you have any last comments? Anything along the lines? CKCustoms.com.
CK's Customs, yeah. I think along those lines, it's better for the league when Hamburg is good because of that rivalry with the Rhine Fire.
Yes.
And so I hope that the Hamburg Sea Devils can get that figured out next season. Final thoughts? No, man, I appreciate you as always having me on. I'm hoping for a good. We should have on paper. It looks like a decent week. At least the potential for a decent week. And after Saturday, because you and I were talking, I was trying to talk up the games last week, and you were like, Randy, they were horrible. So after Saturday, I was like, oh man, this is not a good look for the league. But that they, I feel like Sunday was fun. Like you said to Adam earlier, it's $1 a game. Go support the league. And as always, Jamal, Michael, what you guys do to put light on American football in Europe is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing about this is hit the league pass up, support the league, because guess what's going to happen is when the money starts coming into the league from a fan perspective, the only thing that it can do is go up. And the only thing it can do is start balancing itself out and getting more competitive. They can start implementing rules that are going to level out the competitive nature, because right now it's just straight up wild west recruiting. Like it's basically how can you recruit the better players in your area, which is fine and it's great because it gives these homegrown guys a chance and opportunity. But the competitive balance needs to be leveled out. And I think that there's an opportunity and chance for it. And one of the only ways to do it as fans is to go and support the league and make sure you're dumping the money where it goes, to the league, and make sure it's in a situation where the league can thrive and start learning how to grow. And that's really all that it is, right? Like that's the biggest thing. You got to show your fan support. On the flip side of that, I would love to see the league also implement some sort of like social media presence rule, so Cologne can get their heads out of their asses and start like actually engaging with fans. Damn it, because they need to as well. Our unofficial producer Jamal Clay says, "I support the league by buying the weekly pass every week, and hope Helvetic covers." Good work, fellas. He's said Helvetic's going to cover every week, and then the one week where he said Helvetic wasn't going to cover, Helvetic covered. So let's keep that in mind as well.
And what's our bet on this week?
Frankfurt game, I want to say.
The Frankfurt Madrid game.
Yeah, he had Frankfurt, you had Madrid, so.
All right. And I appreciate the shout out to my wife Jamal. You're killing it too, and she appreciates it. She's in the other room, but she very much appreciates it.
So. Oh, that's why I haven't heard her little giggle in the background, because she decided to leave. I see how it is. Okay.
Yep. She's a little under the weather. So she called it a night.
Well, hopefully she starts feeling better here soon. I don't have any other final thoughts. Just go support the league. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the little ding, you get the notifications. We're here every Tuesday with usually Randy, or at least hopefully with Randy. Frankfurt on the money line, push-ups, Jamal, weight loss fitness program. Now, there you go. That's a mouthful for you. Make sure you go follow Athletes Forum as well on YouTube. Hit the like button over there. Hit the subscribe button. Make sure you get all the European love, the ELF love from Jamal over there. The main gang is killing it when it comes to trying to bring American football to American football in Europe to Americans. That I will never say that again. So it's way too much. It's just too much. It just needs to stop. So until next week, he's Randy Schrader. I'm Michael Washington. Have a wonderful night.